I am Michelle, and this is Steve on Mallet and Michelle. Last week I missed my very first podcast ever, and Steve said it was so quiet, and I don't know if that was a compliment or not. So today I brought.
You could split the difference.
I brought my little tambourine.
there were some days where Cedric and I were like, oh, it's a little quiet in here, and there were some days like, hallelujah, it's quiet in here.
Well, we got to thank our sponsors today.
Yes, we do.
But before we do that, we have two guests that are in studio.
Yes, they're going to join us here in a minute. Mike Morgan and Pat Manske.
Hi, y'all.
Hi, y'all.
Yeah. Did I say it right, Pat?
Yeah.
All right. Well, they're going to come in and join us in a second, but we can't do the show without our wonderful sponsors.
Absolutely. Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room.
Deep Eddy is leaving dripping, but it'll always have a special place in the life of our little town. Stop by and wish them well before they ride off into the sunset.
Absolutely, and you need to go by, this week it'll be, I think they're going to have activities all the way in through June 13th, but our little Logan Papp, who's been on the podcast before, he's going to be there tomorrow, and then we have, I think it's Meg Groves, Billy Broom, and then Michael Kincaid. So they're going to have music and giveaways, and I think they're selling everything but the fixtures.
I think they're selling the fixtures too.
South Star Bank.
Banking isn't boring when you know everyone at your branch. And Steve messed that one up, but that's okay. Banking isn't boring when everyone at your branch knows you on a first name basis and they're all ready to take care of all your banking needs. Stop by a branch today.
They do banking. They do baking also.
They do banking and baking.
Baking and
Actually,
baking.
if you've been there, they always have cookies. So
True.
Yes, banking and baking.
Last time I went there, they had a margarita machine. So maybe that's
yeah.
Black Slate Construction and Black Slate Roofing.
Write this number down, 512-825-9703. If you suspect damage to your roof from this week's storm, give Black Slate Roofing a call now. They'll look at your roof and give you an honest assessment of your roof's condition.
You guys had some nasty weather while I was gone.
It was bad. It was like, it didn't last very long, but it was bad.
Well, it delayed my flight a long time.
Lucky you.
And the Mallet Integrity Team, who missed me so much while I was gone.
You were gone?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Do you ever feel like real estate agents spend all their time getting follows and clicks on social media and no time doing real estate? At the Mallet Integrity Team, we pride ourselves on being the best agents in town. No filters and no BS, just great real estate advice.
Oh, that's such BS. We're all BS.
All BS all the time.
All BS all the time.
Well, I'm super excited about our two guests today. I think you're doing the intro. Are you ready for the intro?
Well, you already introed them.
I didn't intro. I just said their names.
Yes, so you said Mike Morgan.
Yep.
Yes. And Pat, what's his name? Pat Manske.
Welcome to the
guys.
show, you guys.
Welcome so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
So we have you on because of Zone Recording Studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we want to know a little bit more about you guys personally before we get into all that. So, Mike, you were telling us you grew up in Southern California.
Northern California.
The Bay Area.
Northern California.
Yeah, grew up and went to high school in San Jose College in Cupertino, and met my wife out there. Grew up basically in San Francisco more than anything else. We were living in Los Gatos when we got married, and we wound up out here in Austin in 1975 when our '66 Chevy pickup truck broke down in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and we hobbled into Austin because we knew about the Armadillo World Headquarters. And we've been here 51 years in September, so yeah.
51 years.
Why were you traveling down south to begin with?
My wife, we met in the Bay Area while she was visiting her cousin Kathy, and after we got married, we went out to Miami for a while. She was born and raised in Miami, and I wanted to meet her friends, and then I did, and then we were heading back to San Jose when we had everything we owned in the back of our truck. When we broke down in Lake Charles, Louisiana, we came into Capital Chevrolet and just tooled around Austin for the weekend, and we had nothing going on, so we said, well, let's stay for a couple weeks. And then we said, well, rent's really cheaper. In those days, you could rent by the month, so we went ahead and rented an apartment for a month. And then by the end of that month, we never left.
You're temporarily here for 51 years.
Yeah, I mean, Austin was only like 125,000 people in those days. There were no stoplights on Lamar. And the music scene was actually bigger then than it is now.
There were still hookers on Congress?
I was married. I never looked.
You never noticed,
Allegedly.
right?
I never noticed. But we did happen to wander out to Hippie Hollow.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of the reasons we stayed.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same now. We went by there once, and it's just
No.
a bunch of old 75-year-old guys walking around in their non-speedos.
Well, then it was all kids from UT that were
Yeah.
our age.
Yeah,
Jenna was 21, I was 23 at the time, and everybody there was that age.
yeah, yeah. How about you, Pat? Didn't you grow up here locally?
Yeah, I was in Austin. I'm like third or fourth generation Austinite, which is weird. Well, at least sort of. I had grandparents and great grandparents.
Yeah.
And then Driftwood, technically, which is just a post office in the Salt
And
Lake.
now you guys
When I
are
was
getting a
kid.
high school out there.
Yeah.
Love it. Look at that.
Yeah,
Woohoo.
Sycamore, whatever.
Or whatever
And
they
then-
decide
Yeah.
to just whatever they're gonna name it.
Yeah, yeah. And then I've been in this area since '84. So I don't know how.
In the
long it is.
Dripping Springs, yeah.
Yeah, I went to Dripping Springs High School and all that.
So you guys have more time out here than just about anybody else. What's the biggest changes that you've both seen? That the stuff that blows your mind you thought never happened?
Stoplights between the Y and Retro 12.
Yeah.
When we moved out here, Pat and I lived back here in the day that if we were passing each other on 290 between the Y and Oak Hill and here, we would wave.
Yeah.
You know what?
Literally,
Yeah.
there was that few
Yeah.
cars on 290 in
Yeah.
those days. You'd literally wave at somebody going down
Uh-huh.
290. Now, at my last count, there were 38 stoplights, and that was over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Ridiculous, yeah.
And there was none. I mean, you used to say when you cross the Y and Oak Hill, drive 14 miles to the first stoplight. That's Ranch Road 12. Go down, make a left, go down
Yeah.
4.3 miles to 6 black mailboxes, and that's our street. Turn on a gravel road, and at the end of that street's our house. So.
Do you guys live on Brunson Lane?
Memory lane.
Memory Lane. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're on the other side.
Yeah,
Brunson's
yeah.
on the other side, right?
So when you first came here to Austin, were you already in the music business?
Yes.
You were. And so I was reading on your bio that you were also an inventor of some sort. When did that happen? Did that creativity happen here in Austin, or were you?
Actually, that happened in Dripping Springs. Jen and I were also growers for almost 20 years. We had a place called Colonel
Commercial
Pushers.
plants.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
Commercial. Yeah, commercial. And
Legal.
we sold to Home Depot, Walmart, HEB, all those places in there. But at the nursery where we had the nursery, we also had a recording studio, the barn, which was an old dairy barn, the Johnson Dairy Barn, that we turned into a studio. And when we sold that in 1995, the studio, the land, everything went with it. And that's when Janet, the kids were going to the Waldorf school, and in those days the Waldorf school only went to the 6th grade. And our daughter Talia was in the 5th grade at the time, and so we knew the following year she was going to be out. So the Dripping Springs had a very good reputation then and now, as far as a good school district. When I think it was number 2 in the state, back in '92 when we bought out here. And so we came out here specifically for the school district, and we found the place that we still live at today and everything. And so after we sold the nursery and the recordings, in those days the recording studio, people recorded at night.
Oh, yeah.
Because you played music at night, you record at night. And fortunately, so I could literally work all day in the nursery and then go and record music at night, and that was my life. And then, but when we came out here, fortunately, over a matter of a few years, it's switched over and we started making music during the day.
So when you started the recording studio also, did you think, okay, if we build it, they will come, or did you build it because they were already here?
I'd already been doing it 14 years, so I already had kind of a clientele a little bit, and I felt like I had a good enough reputation in those days that I never had any lack of confidence that people would come out here.
How'd you build the clientele?
Then I had it for 14 years. It was built over a period of time. Quite honestly, I built the first recording studio I went into was Riverside Sound, where Stevie Ray Vaughan recorded Texas Flood, and we got to the end of a couple of days and they say, okay, you owe us this much, and I'm like, what? And so I said, all right, but I already knew how to run sound because I'd been working with Jerry Jeff Walker and a whole bunch of other people doing live sound for several years. So I already knew how to run equipment. And so I looked, and a buddy, Mark Hallman, who I'm still friends with today, had a Christopher Cross's actually original console that he toured with, and I knew how to work on those Soundcraft consoles that he had, and I bought a 1-inch 8-track Ampex recorder from Mark Hallman, and he bought some other stuff, and so I was able to get going on that. And I originally built the studio to record my own songs. And
yeah, you
did
were
that.
always in bands and
always in
songwriter,
bands and everything.
That was kind of your driving force, was your own music.
Exactly.
But you're
Flounders?
both musicians, right?
Yeah.
Flounders Without Eyes,
this
right?
was-
That was one of them.
That was
Or
one of them.
That,
Yeah.
that was one of them, and that was at the very, very end of owning that studio. But people kept asking me, well, where are you recording these? They would hear the recordings that we had done with the bands I was in at the time, and I'd tell them my own studio, and they go, oh, it sounds great, can we record there? And at the time I didn't, but then I ran out of songs. And then I got this recording
Oh.
studio sitting there, and it's like then people try to say, hey, can, we record, will you record us? And I'm like, sure. So that's kind of been, and that was only about 2 years into it at that point in time, so.
Did you know him when you were a kid? Were you friends with the family or no?
Well, we met through, my mom was a teller at the bank. Back then it was called Dripping Springs National Bank, where I think it's Wells Fargo now. And Mike's wife Janet would go in there for banking stuff, and they were just, chatty Cathys. They'd talk, and one day she came in there and said, hey, I need, you got a whole bunch of boys. I need one of them to come clean out my horse stalls.
They had
And,
horses at the time.
Yeah, they had horses. So she got I have 3 brothers. She got my younger brother Matt. We had a band at this time, and
The Locomotives.
Locomotives, and she was like, yeah, you can have this one. Send him over there to clean your horse.
You
stuff."
can have this one.
Yeah. So he goes over there and he's doing it. I don't know, it was maybe in the summer or on the weekends or something. And he came back home one day. He's like, man, this dude's got this amazing studio. I guess you showed him or something.
Probably.
And he was like, God, it's really cool. And I think that's how we met. Somehow.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Through Matt.
Yeah, through Matt.
You were
cleaning those
you were hanging out with him, trying to get close to the studio. I
It's
know
like,
that's
that
what it
kid
was.
smells like horse poop. Where
I went up there to say something to Matt, and Pat was there, and then they started talking about their band. I said, well, come and check out the studio.
And then you came and checked us out at our barn. We
Yeah.
converted my mom's barn into like a little.
Rehearsal place, which was
Yeah.
so small I couldn't fit in with the band.
Yeah.
So, but they had these.
It's like this big, yeah.
They had these fold open
No
windows and
AC,
stuff,
yeah.
and so I stood outside and watched, and they were great. I mean,
Oh,
it was
that's
a
awesome.
killer
Wow.
young band. I loved it.
It was a good vibe.
It was a good vibe band, very, very good vibe band. They were all young and they had it going on, but they had no money.
Yeah.
And
So Mike gave us a break. He said, yeah, y'all come over and do a couple songs.
Are you
Well-
guys both still playing music?
Oh yeah, we play in a band together.
Yeah. When you were young and you had that creative spirit, is it hard over time to keep that creativity and that enthusiasm for it as it becomes more of a business?
I mean, yeah, it is hard.
Yeah. Well,
It's,
I can imagine it is, because in the
mean-
beginning you have these dreams and hopes and you're thinking about every word, and then after a while it's like, oh, this is how I make my living.
Yeah, making a living at it can be tricky. It can take some of the soul out of it. I encourage younger guys to keep a part-time job so that music isn't your only, music is your refuge, this thing you go to when you're happy and when you're, creative and not something, oh, I gotta go play this wedding tonight for $50 or, that can really start to.
God, that would
suck
sap it out of your
Yeah.
soul.
Well, especially
wouldn't
if you're a singer-songwriter too.
Yeah.
Like you need to find your inspiration from somewhere. One of the questions I had is like, when does music stop being a hobby for someone and then they decide to become professional at it?
There's
And so
definitely a tipping point. Once you're getting good enough gigs and you've done it long enough and you got some fans, then definitely it's great to, do it full time. That's a lot of fun and great. It takes a lot of work, but yeah, it can be tricky when it's your only.
it's your only gig to try to make a living, and now you have a family or
Is there
whatever else.
is there something to be said for make it or break it? Like, I gotta make this work.
The amount of sacrifice is complete. Like you have to.
Yeah.
Well,
you're all in.
sometimes that's what it takes, though.
Yeah.
You gotta be
It-
120% in, or you don't.
It's exactly what it takes, and I never did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never was all in. I've always had something else going, whether it be doing the nursery or the invention thing you guys were talking about, and that's just to back up just a little bit with Pat. Pat's band came in and recorded a couple of great records and stuff. And I remember Pat saying at the end of the recording when he was tearing down his drums, he said it's like taking down the Christmas tree.
Oh yeah.
he just really did not want it to end, you know.
Yeah, recording it always felt like magic to me. Just like amazing. I just loved it. Still
How
do.
old were you the first time you stepped into the recording studio?
The Zone was the
Yeah.
first real studio I'd ever been in, and it was, I guess I was like 19.
19, I think, yeah.
My
So-
brother Matt was 17, I guess.
Did it feel kind of magical
Yeah.
and I guess mysterious all at once too?
100%.
You're like,
Walked in and was like, this is it. This is, this is what I'm gonna do.
for the rest of my
That's
life.
cool.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
and then
still-
Pat and I worked together for probably about five,
Yeah, we were-
almost 6 years playing, and
we were in different bands together.
Yeah.
Pat was in Flounders also. We were both in Flounders Without Eyes for quite a while. I was in for 14 years. I think he's in for 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But
Well, when you made the transition to producer and sound engineer, audio engineer, right? So did you go into any further kind of official schooling, or was it just trial by fire? Here, let's figure this out.
It was mostly trial by fire. Mike showed me a lot of the ropes early on, and I took a couple classes at ACC, with, audio classes, which were really great, just for some simple techniques, microphone technique, and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But mostly, it's I'm not a tech. Me and Mike are both not technical.
No.
We come at it from a musical background rather than a technical. But it's you learn all these things like, oh wow, this compressor sounds really good on the bass drum, or this sounds really good on vocals. And I used to read a ton, magazines and blogs, and just reading about things and trying them out.
Yeah.
It's a very engineering is for me, or for most people, is a creative thing. It's not. I mean, there's a lot of technical stuff.
It's
but
art,
It
though.
is. It is. Yeah. It's more of an art, and you like give one song to 5 different mixers, and it's gonna sound totally different.
Mm-hmm.
That blows my mind. Because can a good sound guy make or break an artist?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's literally, it's make or break it in the final mix.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not gonna. If you're a good artist, you're gonna find your way. If you run across a bad sound guy, it's gonna make it harder for that time
Yeah.
period. But hopefully, you'll learn enough.
And
to
it'll
get
also
it.
frustrate you because
Yeah.
you're sitting there thinking you're making this great music, but it doesn't sound that good.
Oh yeah.
To where, quite honestly, a lot of people, when they come to us, they wind up sometimes sounding better than
Oh,
they came in. Instead of like a great band coming in and leaving sounding worse, they'll come in hopefully sounding better.
Yeah. Michelle and I have this conversation all the time. I want to get your guys' opinion on this. Are great musicians discovered or chosen?
What do you mean
Does-
chosen?
Well,
Does
like
somebody
industry,
go,
industry
this,
say
this,
that kid.
this lady,
yeah.
this guy has the look, they got the voice, there's a gap right here, we could plug this
So the
person
Backstreet
in.
Boys are Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
No,
that obviously
they rise
happens.
To the top. Great artists rise to the top.
That's
Yeah.
your experience.
Yeah.
The people with the talent, they get there.
I
Well,
can-
not all the time.
I
but-
can think
but-
of
but
some
you have to have
currently
talent
though.
to get
I
there.
can think of some
Sure.
some currently
There's
that
definitely
like
some machine, worked artists that appeal to a certain audience, and that's fine. But like real, authentic, good talent rises to the top, and it may take longer. I always tell people, like, if you're good and you do it long enough, you'll make it.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a lucky break at some point.
Mhm.
It may be early, it may be late, but if you're good and you're out there doing it, you're gonna find your people.
I would think where you guys are in the music market is probably the best place to be for talent, because once you get up to like a Chris Stapleton and the mega stars, it's a business at that point, and they're
Yeah,
and
but
they're
Chris Stapleton was playing bars to 7
Mhm.
people.
No, but
There
that's
were
my point.
more people in his band than there were in the bar sometimes.
Yeah, but that's my point. Is you
and
guys
he still
are-
has that same band today.
Yeah, but that's you get it that those are the people that are coming in to see you. It's still about the music, right?
Oh,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
people are very passionate about their songs, and they're very protective. And
Yeah.
these are their babies they've worked on.
Yeah.
And you gotta
You suggest
respect that.
a word change, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The word I wanted.
Right, and I'm not saying the megastars aren't talented. Obviously they are, but
Very talented.
it becomes a machine at that point. They have thousands of employees dependent on them to make money and music and sell out arenas, and you guys are still with the artists that are they're about the music.
Yeah, and we're still able to pay our rent.
Yeah.
Barely. Mike has 2 kidneys, or 1 kidney. You have
One
1
kid-
kidney.
one
That's
kidney
it.
left, yeah.
There is somewhere though, when you guys are talking about talent and luck, there is somewhere where that luck and that talent kind of intersect at that moment where it kind
Very
of
much
becomes
so.
magical. And so you talked about,
Especially in this day and age.
well, Jerry Jeff Walker, Stevie Ray Vaughan. You've talked about some absolute legends, Robert Earl Keen. And I just think, I mean, it's amazing. Those kind of artists nowadays aren't coming around that often. I feel like
Actually-
came around that often back then.
Yeah,
They
and
were-
there's
those were
still a
special
lot
people.
coming out right now. We're seeing, actually right now I feel like we're seeing more young artists that are blossoming in their teens and 20s than I've seen in the last
but it's
15 or more years. I don't know if it's because of the internet.
that's what I was gonna
You
say.
know.
It's so different now marketing themselves, because now it's all about, you know, getting on TikTok, and they are self-promoting their music, and they're hoping to just be discovered on that kind of avenue, the social media avenue, versus I think sometimes the raw talent is being extracted a little bit. It's more about the look and the clicks.
No,
And
I mean the ones that I'm seeing that are actually rising to the top are extremely talented.
You're also talking to the wrong couple guys about that. we don't know how it's. I mean, I don't even know if anyone knows if there's like a path you can like just go down to make it. You know, it's.
There's not like a template
Yeah,
out
a
there. Like,
template.
okay, if you
Yeah.
want to be a
Right.
professional
Right.
artist, yeah.
We know what they sound like. We know what their
Yeah,
talent is.
we know people come in and they have these songs, and we try to make them as great as sound as great as they can, and
And then it's theirs.
then it's theirs.
Yeah.
Whatever they do with it is theirs, because we're not an A&R. We're a recording studio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
we're
you?
on the front end. We don't do much on the back end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish we could.
Yeah.
It's just not what
Yeah.
we know.
Have you ever had an artist come in that you didn't really know a lot about, and they sit down and they start singing or playing, and you go, "Oh my God,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
some
absolutely.
talent."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens a
Absolutely.
lot. Yeah. People call us out of the blue sometimes. Hey, I got your number from so and so, and want to come in for a day with, and it's like, wow.
We've got one. I'll give you an example. Matt Kurt and the Wayfarers. He basically, a few years back, we were recording Peter Rowan, the Lost Tex Maniacs, the Free Mexican Air Force record. Great record. Anyway, so we get this phone call from Matt Kurt, and Matt's like, "Hey, would you mind if I came down and set up out front of the studio and made fajitas, like made lunch for the guys and
He
stuff?"
was buddies with those guys.
His buddies
Okay.
with Lost Tex Maniacs and everything, and like, sure, yeah, it's no
I like
problem at all.
fajitas. Yeah.
we got a big parking lot. There's no problem with that at all and everything. Matt came down and he cooked all day, and he was a super friendly guy, real nice. And then the next morning he goes, "Well, I'm going to go ahead and hang out tonight. Would it be okay?" And they were staying on property, because we've got some Airbnbs on property. And they were staying on property, and he said, "Well, is it okay if I make them breakfast tomorrow morning?" So we all went over for breakfast, and Matt made all this, breakfast and everything for everybody and stuff. And then about a month later, I'm looking at the calendar, and I see Matt Kurt on the calendar, and I'm like, "Pat, is this Matt Kurt, the fajita guy?"
The fajita guy.
Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah," and I said, "Have you heard of it?" He goes, "No, I have no idea what he does," and stuff like that. And he comes in with this band, and like, holy cow!
Really?
I mean, phenomenal. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, and as humble as the day is long, but that's one of those guys. Did you just all of a sudden not know anything about them, and all of a sudden they start playing their first song? It's like, is that Matt in there playing guitar?
Yeah.
Is that Matt in there singing? Holy Toledo, this band is killer.
Kicking ass now. He's on his 3rd record.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
wow.
right? Oh, wow.
I've seen also on your website, and I thought that this was kind of interesting back to what we were talking about the
Website.
social.
By the
about
way,
social media.
go on the website. Stop right here. I thought you guys were real estate agents, because these are not current
No,
pictures
our
of you,
website
and
was
I thought
very
that was a
bad.
real estate thing. But
Yeah.
look, those are 20 years old, right? there, 20 years ago. Yeah.
But I also noticed that you guys are now offering where you're recording. You're allowing them to record. So is that something you've seen over the years, to where people were just kind of not recording, like video recording,
Oh.
where they're getting in there instead of now about the music, again, social media. It's like, okay, now watch me.
We do
Is
some
that-
of that. We
Yeah,
do
and
some
that kind of started during COVID.
Yeah, we did some.
There was just some really, really horrible live streams going on during COVID, like embarrassingly live. And so we decided, look, let's
We
just
can do better than
we,
that.
we can do a lot better than that and do some streaming and stuff. Our problem wound up being our internet at the time.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we had like an upload of like 2 megaseconds. And it's like literally it would be in the middle of a live stream and crash. So
We've done that. That's
yeah,
happened.
we've had that happen
Good,
here.
good old Dripping Springs internet.
But
It
we have good
happens.
internet now, so.
For sure.
What's a typical session, like somebody calls you, like this guy Mike, the fajita guy, calls you and says, hey, I want
Matt
to come.
the Vita guy.
What? Matt, I'm
Kurt.
sorry, Matt. Yeah, Matt the fajita guy.
That fajita guy.
And he says, hey, I want to come in and do some recording. What's that typically look like? Do you sit down with them and kind of coach them, or do you say, hey, set up and start, and we'll start recording? What's it look like?
I mean, these days, it's just I don't know, we're very streamlined, and I just don't have time for, let's sit down and talk about your project. It's like, you want to book some time, then book it, and we'll do it.
Yeah.
And they come in, and we just go, you know, they load in around 10, and we're usually tracking by like 11. And then it just starts, people start coming up with ideas, and I'll offer, you know.
Yep.
My role varies depending on the session. Sometimes I'm more of a producer role, sometimes I'm more just kind of engineering. And,
What's the difference between the two?
I mean, it's a lot of gray area. The engineer, I guess, is more focused on the recording aspect of it, the sounds.
Okay.
And the producer might be more focused on the songwriting and the arrangements, and just keeping everything on track, you know.
Or the flow.
Yeah,
The flow.
just
And when you're tracking, you're listening. Of course, we've both, you know, that you got the 10,000 hours to master something. We're both at about 500,000 hours.
Oh, jeez.
So you know, so it's kind of like one of those things. I mean, you know, you hear stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And sometimes you'll say something right away, and sometimes you just kind of like wait and see how they're feeling, you know, about it and stuff like that. 'Cause you might think, oh, that guy can sing it different. And he might come in and go, oh my God, that's the best I ever sang that, and I just love myself, and or something. So you might, so then you just kind of massage it, you know, easily and stuff, and you might just start helping, you know, that part right there, you know, if you guys did this or did that and stuff like that, you know, if you're willing to try it, this drum beat, instead of doing this drum beat, if you just change it over, it'll drive it a little bit better if you do it this way.
Yeah, and that's more as a producer? Or
Yeah,
that's more-
that'd be getting
okay.
into production, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if there's not
But
a
most
producer,
people want advice.
Yeah.
Most people say, how does that sound? What do you guys think?
Yeah. Well, I was going to save that question for you guys for our setup till the end, and I will ask you. But go ahead, Michelle.
Well, one of the questions I have is, I want you to explain to me the science of auto-tune.
the science of it.
Yeah.
God, I don't know. I just
How-
push a button and it.
Really? So yeah. Is it just a button?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
there's more than that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got to know how to use. It's just a tool we
It's
use.
just like you have to know how to use a guitar. There's 6 strings on it. You can make a sound by strumming it.
So most
Yeah.
of our listeners won't know what that is. Can you tell us
Auto
what
tune. It's
auto-tune is?
like if someone is singing or playing fiddle or whatever, and it's just a little bit out of tune. It's
Maybe
a-
just maybe one note.
Yeah, it's a
Could
quick,
just be one note.
a quick, easy tool to get that thing back in tune. Now it's become. I was gonna say overused, but I don't know. I mean, I use it all the time. If it's a great feel, a great vocal, and everybody's pumped and happy, I'd rather just tune it a little bit than have the guy or the girl re-sing it 20
Mhm.
times. It's just like.
But
let's
sometimes
keep it
you'll lose
moving.
the emotion.
Yeah, like okay, that was great. That was a little flat, but I'll come back and fix that later, and let's move on to the next thing. It just kind of keeps the flow going. But I don't like to over. If you can tell it's being tuned, then to me that's not good.
Yeah.
It's overtuned.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to notice it at all. You want to get the artist as close to their soul coming out of the speakers as you can, and I want as little as possible between the listener and the person's soul. You don't want auto tune or oh wow, the engineer's really working that compressor. Like I don't want you to notice that. I just want the sound to
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same with all the
distract.
instruments and the band itself.
But that's our own philosophy. That's some people I mean you can also use it as an effect. Like a fun. If you crank it up too hard and overuse it, it creates that sort of robotic.
There is
kinda
something
sound.
to be said, though, you know, when you're listening to something that's so clear and so crisp, but when you're listening to like an old Led Zeppelin album and you're hearing that crackling and that
Mhm.
popping a little bit, it's like, man, it just adds,
Adds to the
Yeah,
like
character.
the
to the
melody.
vibe.
It does. It
Yeah.
truly does. So do you think that artists are moving further away, or the music further away from that, or you think we're kind of having a little resurgence of, man, that nostalgia era of music?
I think the people that know what we do gravitate toward us because we have a certain sound. You know, we lean more toward the rootsy, authentic, less processed, more, you know, grounded sound. You know, we don't do super overly processed poppy stuff. I just don't like it personally. I like it more real and
Mhm.
honest and authentic, and that's, you know, not throwing shade at whatever, but
No, it's just it's who you are and why
yeah,
people would
that's
use
the
you.
kind of music I like.
Yeah.
So that's it's hard to say if that's a trend or not, but we attract a certain kind of artist because the sound we put out there, that's what they hear, and they're like, wow, where'd you do that? That record sounds really cool. Where'd you do it? If it was some, you know, super poppy production, if they wanted that, they would hear our stuff and go, I don't want that.
Well, yeah, I can kind of equate it to, like, you know, you go to gyms and you got one of those hamburgers that are so flippin' good because the griddle is like 50-something years old, and you go to P. Terry's and it's equally good, but it's not a Jim's burger,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so it's got a little grease on
Got a
it.
little
Yeah.
little caramelization.
Was
Now
there,
you make me want to eat at Jim's.
Yeah. Can't go wrong at Jim. Has there ever been, I'd like to hear from both of you, a session or sessions that you guys have really great memories about?
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a couple.
I mean, you're talking about 25 years or 30
Yeah.
years here.
There's got to be a couple
one that kinda
really
stands
jump
out,
that
pops
were-
above.
Well, I mean, speaking of Jerry Jeff Walker, I mean, like when we were doing the Moonchild record, you know, the whole band's there and everything and stuff like that, and it's all recording. Then you get to the point where, you know, maybe all the music's recorded and Jerry just comes in for a few days by himself just to listen,
Yeah.
maybe re-sing a few things, maybe do this or that and stuff. So there's just a lot of, it gets to the point where when it gets down to just like the three of us or something like that, you're just hanging out. And so there's like, all of a sudden, you know, for whatever reason we're talking and this and that, and Bojangles comes up, you know, and Jerry Jeff just tells like a full version of the day
Wow.
that happened.
That
you
he
know,
wrote
he
that
got thrown
song.
in jail and met
Wow.
Bojangles, and just from the beginning to the end, all in real time, and it's just the three of you, you know, and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, like things like that, I think are, you know, super cool.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean, you know, you're just really hanging out, or
Isn't that the stuff in life where you go home at the end of the day and go, today was a good day.
you know.
It was a good day.
And Pat was is drummer for the Flatlanders, still is. But you know, Jimmy Dale Gilmore, you know, tells the story about, you know, filming The Big Lebowski.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
when he's in, you know, when
Smokey.
he's Smokey, and then, you know, and just a lot of things that
Yeah.
happened on set, and working with the Coen brothers and all that.
That's
I mean,
funny.
so you get a lot of, you know, you just get a lot of inside stories.
Yeah. Pat, what's some memories that you have?
Oh man, I don't know.
It becomes a
remember-
blur.
Yeah, I know.
I remember Ray Wiley Hubbard is
Oh.
like a regular.
He's been working there about
forever.
Yeah.
28 of the 30 years.
And I remember him sitting on the couch in the studio, like kind of plucking on Snake Farm, the song.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's-
He hadn't even finished.
He hadn't
writing
finished it yet. Wow.
He was over there doing it. And
No.
A couple weeks later, he came in with Gerf Morlix and his band.
That's such a memorable song. You can't hear that. You hear that once, you'll remember it
We were
forever.
talking about it recently. That
Yeah.
may be the most popular song we've ever
That
recorded.
everybody knows.
Was that
Everyone knows.
recorded in your
Yeah.
studio? Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's when he went in, he went back in the booth where he was tracking from, and you know, and when I heard him go, ooh, I go, that's gonna be a popular song.
And it was. Geez, it's still popular now.
Yeah,
I don't
very
even
much
know.
so.
When do you remember about when he recorded that? God.
08, 06 maybe.
Yeah.
something.
So it's been
long
around
time ago.
20 years.
Yeah, it was probably
yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
What is happening right now for you guys, do you think, in Texas music, whether it's Texas country music, red dirt music's kind of intersecting here, that's really kind of exciting?
Well, Presley Hell comes to mind. I mean,
Yeah, Nick Presley and Race.
Yeah, Nick,
Texas
Race
trio.
Ricketts, Presley Hell, Larry Joe and Nick Brumley. they all came from kind of like the Larry Joe Taylor school. Larry Joe Taylor has the songwriting contest every year up at his big festival, the Stephenville Festival that he puts on. And I think Nick won it one year, Nick Brumley won, and Grace Ricketts ran it. And I don't think Presley ever did it, but she was kind of with those guys. And Larry Joe kind of took them under his belt. And all three of them are extremely, extremely talented. Robert Earl Keen now is, like, Robert's playing well, this is going to be after the fact, but when Robert Earl Keen last week played,
yes.
They opened up for him, so Race has been opening up a lot of shows for Robert lately, Race Ricketts and stuff, and Presley, she's kind of like, she's so incredibly talented. She's been recording with us, I think, since she was 19. She just turned 23, and she signed with Columbia Records last year. And
she's just one of the best singers.
She's the Emmylou Harris of this generation in my mind. That's the way I kind of look at her.
What is her name?
Presley Hale,
H-A-I-L-E.
And Race, and these guys, I think what makes them special, and some other guys, Niles, all these guys, Ashton Naylor, they're not
Logan.
listening to the same crap. You can tell they have a wide range
there she is right
of
there.
stuff
Oh, yeah.
they're listening to that's influencing them. Well, I get tired of the same, like, some of the scenes, they just sort of listen to each other and they kind of regurgitate the same things for
echo chamber.
Like, you plug in a different guy from 30 years ago in certain genres, and it's like, well, it sounds
very much the same.
Yeah, that was interesting to me. We had Logan Papp and Jackson Bennett in here, and they were both talking about the artists that are influencing them. I'd never heard of most of them. I mean, I heard of some of them, obviously, but I agree with you. I think there are too many people focused on just those top people in that.
Yeah, there's a lot of great music in the world.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah,
right
there's
there.
more to pull from now than ever.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear a lot of it in a single band.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I mean, you'll hear a band do a bluegrass song and a reggae song and an Americana song and a blues song all on the same record.
Well, you may roll your eyes at this, but I'm a big Morgan Wallen fan. I'm a big country music fan, but Morgan Wallen right now has a station on Sirius Radio, and what I love about it is that it just pulls. I mean, I'm listening to T-Pain, I'm listening to Celine Dion, I'm listening to Kenny Rogers, and he's just pulling all these genres in, and you're like, you can kind of hear a little bit, and it makes me appreciate that. I love singer-songwriters. It's like, just, I absolutely love that. But there's something about Morgan Wallen, like when he first started, it was that kind of raw, that kind of authentic music, whether or not he's writing his own music or not. But
he's very free to pull from whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And put it out there, which I applaud him for that.
Yeah, sure. I love it. And like when he released one of those albums, God, it had so much music on there. But it is also neat to kind of hear the storytelling side of it, and like what you were talking about, Bojangles, like, where that story came about.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And there's no one, not to go back to Jerry Jeff, but I will say there was no one who liked to tell a crazy story about Jerry Jeff Walker more than Jerry Jeff Walker. He embraced telling crazy stories about himself.
That's the way he wanted in life. Mike, you were mentioning that there's more good music out there than ever before, and that's,
I think so.
Yeah, and that's probably because of streaming, right?
Well, I mean, like the Beatles records are 60 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long.
Oh,
if you haven't picked up on some stuff by now, you're never going to.
Yeah.
The accumulation. If you can't kind of put a good band together or write a good song now, after all the influence you've got. It's just like with Apple Music or Spotify or whatever. I mean, Apple says for basically $10 a month you get 10 million songs. I mean,
how do you think that's changed the music industry, though? The old days when I was growing up, if somebody came out with an album, I go down to the record store and buy it. And now it's more like you were saying. You have a station and you listen to a variety of songs. You might pick out that artist.
I mean, you listen to the music I listen to. It's like, I'm very eclectic. I'm like very...
Yeah, I just wonder and you guys may not know, but from the business standpoint of things, how has that influenced music over the last 20 years where everything is streamed?
I don't know. Well, one thing I'm encouraged about, actually, because 20 years ago, you would say, okay, well, this music is going to basically where rock and roll is going to go away. You know, hip hop's going to be gone. Folk music is gone. You know, because folk music or blues is gone.
It's not in vogue.
You know, and what I'm seeing is like, you know, human beings and human emotion and whatnot is not changing that much. I mean, people still fall in love. You know, people still have kids. People still have problems. People still have heartbreaks. And so I'm just still seeing, you know, just people just writing great songs. It doesn't, I don't know where music was going to go or where it may go in the future. And of course, there's trance music and there's all sorts of different, you know, things that are out there and stuff like that people like to go to clubs and dance to and stuff. It's different in New York and LA and everywhere. But I'm just encouraged that there's just still really great songwriters out there writing new songs and telling their
hunger for music hasn't gone
away. And the desire of just to listen to a, you know, it's just like in the old saying, you know, 3 chords and the truth.
Well, I think the streaming thing has helped people have, like you were just talking about all the different genres. Like, it used to be, well, I only listen to country music, I only listen to rock. Now you have these stations on streaming, and you'll hear a song, and maybe it's blues, and you go, man, I kind of like that. Whereas, you know, in the past, you might not have been exposed to that because you only bought, like, hard rock stuff or, you know, or metal stuff or something like that.
And the only thing I wish, and the Morgan Walton station is a great station because of that, but a lot of times there's, even on Sirius XM or whatever, it's like there's a 50s channel, a 60s channel, a reggae channel, a blues channel, and that can get old too. I mean, I shoot myself if I go to just a bluegrass festival. I mean, how many notes can you hear? Or just a reggae festival, because it just gets old after about the 7th band, you know.
Well, you have grandchildren, and you have children. So, what is a song that you are hearing now, and are any of your kids listening to Taylor Swift?
Absolutely.
We went through a phase. My kids are a little older than his grandkids, so we're a little bit. But yeah, we went through a Tay-Tay phase. We're my daughter's more into
Tay-Tay.
My daughter's more into like Trio kind of stuff right now. Trio Revival.
Oh God, I love them too. I love the Red Clay Strays too, and I love.
But my son's been hitting the Pearl Jam recently. He's
really?
a skater. Yeah, he lives at the skate park here.
Oh, that's cool.
Which has been amazing for us.
Is he getting Nirvana and a little grunge?
That's where I came from. You know, was rock. You know, the 90s rock stuff.
Who knew the Dripping Springs kid was the little grunge kid?
Does he ever come up to you and go, Dad, listen to the song I discovered? And you go, man, I was listening to that 20 years ago.
And he went through all the classic Black Sabbath stuff. You know, they're sort of that skate culture kind of music.
Are they really?
Great, yeah. I love
Black Sabbath. I saw Black Sabbath.
You did?
I saw them in concert.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I saw Judas Priest was one of my first concerts in Corpus.
Oh,
of all things.
Wow,
Back when the tickets were like $12 and they'd open the doors and you'd run for the stage, that kind of thing. That was a good time. Aerosmith, saw Aerosmith. Whitesnake, which was really cool. Creed. Man, I would give to see Creed again.
I saw Bob Dylan in Fort Lauderdale in the early 80s, and he sucked. that was it.
Dylan's hit and miss.
I saw him
isn't it true?
Year, and
Did you really?
It was terrible, and I loved it.
It was terrible, and I loved it.
And I saw him at the Backyard one time, and it was the level of the Beatles. It was literally a phenomenal show.
That's what I heard.
And I also saw him with when Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers were backing him up, and that was phenomenal. But I've also seen some not so good Bob Dylan.
Do you think that an artist like the level of a Janis Joplin would make it in today's kind of music?
Absolutely.
That raw,
Absolutely.
I mean, that raw,
100%.
I don't know if it would be popular. I don't know.
That level of talent,
you can find your niche. You know, find your people. You don't have to be like the top of the charts to make it anymore, quote unquote. You can just find your find your circuit. There's so many people who are killing it that I've never even heard of.
Yeah, right.
What about Jimi Hendrix? You think Jimi
God
Hendrix
bless. He's like
just because of his guitar skills?
That's sacrilege. That's
guitar is not exactly in vogue right now, but he's just so cool.
Yeah.
It's like undeniable.
Yeah, no, Jimmy would definitely be big right now.
I think he would make it on his mojo alone.
Yeah. there's artists that you listen to.
Well, plus he might be the greatest guitar player
Ever.
Well, and
Well,
that's
there's
true.
that.
Well,
Ever.
I was thinking about Stevie Ray Vaughan and how it was a couple months ago, we were pulling up YouTube videos of Stevie Ray Vaughan's,
Yeah.
and Texas Flood, and
Yeah.
every time you listen to that song, I get goosebumps. It's
Yeah.
like, it's crazy that music can do that to you,
Yeah.
to your soul. I love that.
You were talking about a bucket list item to perform at the Red Rock.
Red Rocks.
Yes, that's one of my. I need to go see a concert there too. but-
It's a phenomenal. I mean, there's a few really phenomenal venues and a few really phenomenal festivals and whatnot, and I've gotten to play at Telluride multiple times,
Oh,
and
nice.
I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Harley Strictly Bluegrass Festival in San Francisco, but that's a free festival out there, and it draws about 700,000 people over the
I have a
weekend.
couple of
Wow.
people.
But it's free in Golden Gate Park, and Pat's played it like
Oh,
13
wow.
times.
Really?
Oh, really?
He
Wow.
played it with the Flatlanders many times, and I mean, it's a great festival. One, it's free. You just walk in. They allow everything except glass and cigarettes. They don't allow dog. I guess it's not dog friendly because there's just too many
So
people.
joints are okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, weed's legal in
The joints
California.
are encouraged, yeah.
Yeah, it's legal in California.
My kid actually lived right outside of Golden Gate Park, right
Nice.
right there. I
That's
used to
Well, then
walk
he
their
knows
dog.
it. He's got to know about
I'm
it.
sure
That's
he
a
did.
great part.
Yeah.
'Cause it's been going on 17 years.
Since 2000.
So 16 years. But so those are my two favorite festivals that I've ever played. Is Telluride and
No
Hardly
no
Strictly.
Coachella? No.
That's not really on my bucket list.
Right?
Yeah.
That has become so commercialized, so over social media. I mean, I even see some of the tents now. People were setting up the tents. It's like $100,000 to set their tent up. It's like,
ACL,
what?
It's not really.
It's
It's
just
not for
so
me.
commercial.
Well,
Not-
speaking of
not made for
ACL,
me.
they just released the new list.
Oh, don't
and
I know it? My daughter had to borrow money to get her tickets.
did she
Oh.
really? People were like, "Who are these people?" So, like, are we the old people that we
Yeah.
don't know the new?
Yeah.
Is that what? I'm gonna.
Well, isn't
I'm gonna
that
put it
cool
up.
though that there's new artists
Sure.
that are
Oh yeah.
just now being
Well,
discovered?
ACL, those guys are really smart. They have like a young staff and whatnot, and they'll be like walking down the hall and they'll hear like somebody listening to something at their desk or whatever, and they go, "Who are you listening to?" And they have never even heard of them. They're like, "Oh, this band is blowing up. They're doing really good on the East Coast, or blah blah blah, or whatever." And they'll hire them. So they'll just put a ton of, they just really what the young people are listening to is who they're booking.
I wonder if they could
And
get-
then of course they'll put on some things for us.
I just go to the Trader
McCartney,
Joe's over
David.
in Bee Caves and you can hear it.
Yeah.
You just sit in the parking lot and you can hear that. I know
Smart.
Kings of Leon. Do
There
you
you
know
go.
anybody on this list, Steve? Just like anybody, just like randomly.
I know Kings of Leon. I don't know anybody
Lord,
else.
Oh Lord, yeah. Wait, I didn't see that. Where is she? Is she Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, there she is, right there. Sorry.
You know what's funny about that is all these names, the chain smokers, and I saw.
Oh, I know the Chainsmokers.
Snow strippers. No. How'd you come up with flounders without eyes?
I don't want to say. I don't want to say.
Use your imagination.
I can't even imagine right now. I can't even imagine. What?
But that's
Cow Patty.
that's almost 30 years old also.
What makes the Zone different from other recording studios?
Vibe, personality, sound. Just you kind of end up having your own thing. It's kind of like what makes your house different from your neighbors. You can have two houses on the same block that are built by the same builder almost. I'm not saying y'all do. I know where you live. But then if you walk into your house, it's got your personality.
Sure.
It's got your vibe. It's got your whole thing going on. I think that's a big part of it. I mean, a lot of people just tell us, and it's been a similar comment. That it's all about the vibe, the sound, the atmosphere and stuff like that. I think that's all a big part of it.
As like with comfort like being relaxed. The control room feels like you're in a living room. There's a picture of it. I mean, it's meant to be chill, relaxed. Let's get creative. Some studios are more sterile, more technical, and this one obviously it's loaded with great gear, and it has windows, which
Yeah.
is very rare for a studio. Most studios feel like caves. When you
Yeah, my first studio was a cave. We could go in there at night. When one day we literally it was Easter Sunday. I was in there working with the sax player Richard Hardy, and he couldn't get there till 11:30 at night because he had a gig. So he drove in from Austin, and we started recording, and we were working on all these different songs and stuff like that, and we were just all of a sudden kind of, man, I am exhausted. And I opened the door and it was daylight, and I went, oh no.
Geez,
and I
It's Easter Monday.
well, we don't have a clock in this studio either. We didn't have a clock in the studio or anything, and I didn't wear a watch. And I went, oh my God, I wonder what time it is. And I go, it's Easter. I gotta go put the eggs out for the
geez,
kids.
man.
This was my kids, not my grandkids.
How'd you control the sound in that? That room looks like it's all paneled in wood. How do you make it so there's not a lot of...
The studio, that was one thing. When I built this particular studio, I spent months researching the
Acoustics?
Yeah, I had a small budget to work with compared to Warner Brothers and all these guys. But I did a lot of research on sound and isolation and reflections and different things like that and stuff. And a lot of it's we can literally have a lawnmower outside of the studio mowing against the wall and cutting vocals, and you can't hear it.
Really?
It's all double walls.
It's double and triple. The interior wall and the exterior wall don't touch each other.
Oh.
And that's on the inside walls also.
Okay.
It's kind of like two tin cans, and you got a piece of wire between these two tin cans, and you can hear each other 100 feet away.
Yeah.
You know, you can talk in and put it up to your ear and hear it. You cut that wire, the sound's gone.
Oh.
And so basically by building an interior wall and an exterior wall and leaving an inch space in between them, and then insulating them both.
Yeah.
And even under the wood on all these walls, there's double sheetrock behind it, and then there's literally foam padding on top of the sheetrock, and then the wood's on top of that.
Yeah, we have $27 curtains is what we have.
Curtains are really good for
Yeah.
sound as well,
Yeah.
so.
I was going to ask you, Pat, how do you go from being behind the scenes, in, control board like that, and then being on stage and women throwing their bras at you? So how do you go to that mind?
I mean,
Mind shift.
Who says they don't throw bras in the studio?
Mike, keep your bra on.
What happens in the studio stays in the studio.
That is true.
I'm not sure they throw them either place.
No. I mean, I love performing. It's a totally different thing. I mean, I play in the studio all the time still, but I don't know. I've toured a lot, and I'm kind of done with it. It'd have to be a really special circumstance for me to go back on the road. Just
And
I
a
got
lot
kids
of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because you lose money to go on the road.
Yeah.
A lot of times, the road doesn't pay as well as 5-6 days in the studio.
Really?
Is that just because you're out on the road kind of building up your notoriety, building up
Well, even if you're a
fan base?
sideman,
Yeah.
in a popular band, sidemen don't get paid what the artist does.
You're sleeping at the Holiday Inn Express, and they're sleeping at the
If you're lucky.
Or on the bus.
Yeah.
on the bus.
Or on the bus. That's I would do it for the right circumstance.
Yeah.
But I love being home and feeding my chickens.
Yeah.
And
I want to ask
take
you
care of my
about the
kids.
chickens in a minute, but I before we get to that, because I kind of want to wrap up the studio talk. Biggest disaster you've ever had in the studio? The time you guys went, oh, what do we do?
It gives me anxiety. Hard drives dying.
Oh.
That's always, you just break out in a cold sweat.
Yeah.
Air conditioning breaking down.
Oh.
That kind of thing. We haven't had too many.
We
massive,
really haven't. I mean,
disasters. I mean, there's been some personal things like, it's tricky. I feel for bands. Being in a band is really hard because you're living together, and then it's like, okay, we got this 10-day window. Let's get in there and make a record, and you haven't had time to, it just gets intense. And so I've seen some, it just gets. It's like Thanksgiving dinner with your family. All these personal things.
Yeah, everything comes to head.
Yeah,
I
so
get it.
that is sad to see, and I always do my best to sort of try to diffuse it and
Walk outside, mediate.
Yeah.
So part therapist, part engineer.
Yeah,
Sure.
mine was
Make people
very
feel
early
comfortable.
on. We had a guest in. It was Bill and Michelle from Pigpen, and we were talking and we were having a great time. And I looked down and we were 30 minutes in and I hadn't hit record. we had to
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
over. Have you done
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
so
That-
embarrassed.
I've done that once or twice 25 years ago, and you learn from that.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
I'm gonna hit record.
I actually, I now I'm like, I have like a nervous tick. I'm
Yeah.
constantly checking to make
Same
sure
thing.
it's still
Yeah.
going.
After a long day of work, I'll be like make a left turn driving home and try to hit save. You know?
Yeah.
Brain, like everything you do, you hit save. and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
Pat, you mentioned your chickens. We have a couple. Well, actually, long story. We had a couple chickens. We have one left now. But how many chickens do you have?
As of yesterday, just 6. I lost one a couple nights ago. But yeah, I just that's like my zen place. I go feed my chickens.
You know what? I was telling Michelle that she
It's
looks at me like
ridiculous.
my head's on backwards. We let them out and they walk around the yard and they're doing their thing and I'll just sit there and watch them. It's very relaxing.
Right. It's awesome.
They all have their own little personality.
Yeah.
No, my
Does your-
girlfriend won't let me let them out anymore. But I built them a giant yard.
Oh yeah. We
Aw.
Fenced and
we have our coop is called Fort Coop because there's not very many animals. Maybe an elephant could get in there, but there's no raccoons or anything getting in our coop. But
Does your chicken eat like salt and vinegar potato chips like my
yeah.
dogs do?
Oh,
my dog doesn't
our,
follow me
our
around.
chickens get peas and blueberries. That's their treat. And they're
Oh, they're
organic.
bougie
so-
chickens.
Wow,
Oh,
these are-
bougie, yeah. Wow.
What do you
Steve.
feed yours? Are you feeding them scratch?
Yeah, I mean, I feed them the regular stuff, and then we give them kitchen scraps.
Don't
Yeah,
tell
we
your
do that.
chickens about
I
his
know,
chicken.
You keep
Yeah.
that on the down low.
Yeah.
Right? Please,
I
you're gonna
know.
chicken talk there.
Yeah.
That's a different podcast.
My wife listens to everyone, and so we lost Penny yesterday. She got that was our Rhode Island Red, and she was the
Oh.
sweetest little chicken. She just comes sit next to you and look up at you, and that was very sad. And I know anybody that doesn't have chickens doesn't understand that, but you know.
Weirdo. Yo, weirdo. Mike, what's the most rock and roll thing you've ever witnessed where you're like you were a part of it?
Is it still on the air?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Not really that many crazy things, to be honest with you. There's really not. I mean, it's on the road. You're just busy all the time. You know, you're just going from one place to another. You don't. It's more fun to go on vacation than it is to go on a road, actually, because you really don't have that much time to really do all that much or anything. And in the studio, it's like it's not like a job because you're doing something that you love. But I mean, people are there for professional reasons and stuff. It's not like it's a couple of crazy things I really.
Okay, you just
I just a couple of things.
Yeah.
But
Took you a second to get
that's
to it.
but that's really at my old studio. That's actually at the barn, and because those recording sessions all were at night, and you know, at night things get crazier than they do during the day. I mean, kind of everybody knows that, and those I really. The couple that come to my mind.
Sounds like those skeletons are going to stay in the
No,
closet.
and it's not me. It's just things
Yeah.
that happen.
Have either one of you ever been at a show performing and the lead singer gets up there and says, "How you doing, St. Louis?" and you're in Kansas City?
I've never had exactly that happen, but no.
No.
I always wonder about that because that would be I would be like, damn, you know, because you're waking up in a different town every night and like, okay, am I in the right place? I'd be afraid.
I will say when I built the zone here, the studio here, my wife did not want me to have it on the property because the barn, the recording
The
studio.
shenanigans.
And again, recording sessions were at night in those days and stuff like that, and we would record, and I was recording in those days actually a lot of the hard rock bands in Austin, Dangerous Toys, which was Kevin Fowler's original band.
Oh,
Kevin
wow.
Fowler
Yeah.
was in a hard rock band, Dangerous Toys, when he was young. And Rocking Horse and Raging Saint and all these bands and stuff like that. A lot of them hang out at the Yellow Rose and the different places like that. And when my youngest daughter was, and the studio was, you pulled into the property and went in front of the house to get to the studio in the back. And my wife was not happy when about midnight there's a knock on our door and it's drunk girls from the Yellow Rose. And this our daughter.
You know what the Yellow Rose is, Steve? It was a strip club.
It was a strip club. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah.
And our daughter's like 3 weeks old,
Oh,
you know,
my God.
and she's answering the door, and these girls are like, is John here? Where's the studio? It's like, man, that did not go over well.
We're done.
Yeah,
We're done.
this is not happening. I told her, babe, this time studio will be at the front of the property and the house will be in the back. That will never. Those things won't happen, please.
Oh, that's funny.
And it all worked out.
Okay, I have a bizarre question, and God, this won't happen, but this is just a bizarre question. If the zone caught fire and you could grab one thing out of there, what would you grab?
Hard drives.
Hard drive.
Oh,
Hard drives.
yeah.
It would
Yeah.
It wouldn't be one.
Even
It'd be
though
boxes of them.
That's why every day I take all the copies home.
But-
I have 2 copies, and I have a bag of all the hard drives. So every day I back it up, take one home, leave one there.
Good for
But-
you.
Well, you learn. You know, you have.
Well,
a
we
hard
won't
drive.
say who this happened to, but this happened to a person who recorded the studio, and he had backups, literally from that day. And he was an outside producer who was bringing us projects, and he had about 4 or 5 projects on these hard drives, and he had a bag that he carried them in, and he had backup drives of all of them, but he had the originals and the backups in the same bag.
He was leaving the studio,
And
and
he-
his bass player was like, "Hey, can you give me a ride?" So he dropped his bass player off, and he's like, "Hey, come in for a beer."
Yeah, and
Went inside.
literally he was only inside for like 30 minutes, and when he came back out, someone had broken into his truck and taken that. They had no idea what they had, but they had like
We still have hard drives.
5 full band projects.
Wow.
That the bands would have to literally come back into the studio and re-record everything from
my
scratch.
gosh.
It was the only recordings we had of those. It was his problem. He had to take out a bank loan to give all the bands their money back.
Jeez, yeah, that's one of those moments in life. You go, oh, I just want to go back 24 hours. I won't make that mistake again. I want to ask you guys, and then we'll wrap up. Advice for us in our humble little rinky-dink
Dude,
studio
this is
here.
awesome.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
We're gonna copy it.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
comfortable. And super pro. Keep
Yeah.
those pots potted.
Keep those pots potted.
We're learning all kinds of
Got
new terms
nice
today.
cans here.
We
Yeah.
do. Yeah, we learned our.
We
our
gave
cans.
you guys the cheap cans. We have the
Oh,
nice
what?
cans.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry.
I'm
Next time
sorry.
we'll bring our own.
Yeah, I know. You probably have much better than
Little
we have.
divas.
but-
I'm sorry I didn't have the green M&Ms sorted out for you before
Yeah.
you're on your writers.
Check
I
the
didn't
writer.
I didn't get your writers prior.
Yeah.
That's
I've really
great.
enjoyed this, you guys. It's
Oh,
been a lot
so
of
did we.
fun.
Y'all do a
Thank you.
great job. I've
Yeah.
been listening to the archive.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
Great time.
and congratulations to you both for 30 years
30
with the
years.
studio.
Yeah. The city of Dripping Springs, found out that we were 30 years, and they actually, Pam King, she's the head of the Dripping
Tourism.
Springs
We're
Music
gonna have her on
Advisory.
in a couple of
Yeah.
weeks.
Great.
And she called me up and she goes, what other, because we've been out here 33. She goes, well, what other businesses are still in business like for 30 years in Dripping Springs when you guys came here? And of course, Rippy's gone. I mean, all
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
feed store, Mr. Mike's has been like 20 different restaurants.
Yeah.
I go, the only people I can really think of is like Garrett's Garage.
Oh, yeah.
Garrett's
Garnett's.
Propane, Garnett's Propane,
Garnett's Propane.
and the
yeah.
green garage, and it's like, and I started thinking, not many, and
Mm.
certainly not recording studios, which
No.
30 years for a recording studio is a long time anyway, for any business
Yeah.
really, but
There's only a handful even in Austin.
Yeah.
that are still around.
Yeah.
that are still around, and probably nationwide. There's probably not that many that have lasted 30 years. And
It's a
that made
tricky
us start
business.
thinking about it. And so anyway, Pam took it over to the city of Dripping Springs and said, we're promoting, we want Dripping Springs to be a music city, and we just happen
Yes.
to have one of the oldest recording studios
That's
in the
so
state of Texas, right here in Dripping Springs. And so they actually made May 17th, they did a proclamation and made May 17th the Zone Recording Studio in
That's
Dripping
cool.
Springs Day.
And by the time we record, it'll have been the weekend
Right.
prior.
Yeah.
But you guys are having a little shindig
Mhm.
this
Sunday.
this
It's also
weekend.
Mike's birthday and his grandson.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
So it's like
And that just all kind of happened, which is, we did, once we found out that they were doing the proclamation, they actually gave it to us on May 5th. We did ask them, we're having our anniversary party at Ghost Note on the 17th, which now this is past the 17th, but so it's already
We'll talk
happened.
about it on our Instagram. We'll remind people.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, so they agreed because of the festival and all that and everything that we're putting on, that they would make it May 17th. So my grandson said, like, Papa, so it's like from now on, every May 17th, it's like the Zone Recording Studio Day in Dripping Springs for forever, right? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's just like the way he's saying it's like they're going to throw like a Founders Day parade or something.
Yeah.
You know? Like, yeah, it's true, but I don't really think anybody's going to know it but us.
You need to get your own star down there on Mercer Street.
That's
the
right.
Zone. Yeah,
What's
Zone
next
Recording.
for the Zone? What's in the future?
I mean, I just love doing what I do. I just want to keep doing it, honestly. I love the artists I work with and just keep going. I mean, I feel so lucky to, like, people ask me, and people don't ask me, but like I think like retirement, like when I retire, I just want to make more records, you know.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I feel really lucky just to even be doing this. And
It's your passion.
if I can keep it going, that's great. I told myself in 2002 when I started doing sessions there, I was like, well, because I've been doing music already for like 7 or 8 years, trying to do it professionally. I was like, I'll partner it up with Mike. I was like, I'm gonna give this a year, see if I can make it work. And you know, that was
20-something years
23
later.
years ago. So
I guess, did you figure out it worked?
well, I don't take it for granted. You know, it's like every year, it's like, well, I'm still here.
Well,
Raising a family and
literally in January of next year, Pat will have literally spent half of his entire
Oh, wow.
life in the studio.
Wow.
25 years next year.
Sucker.
No, and he blows my mind. I mean, first of all, his concentration is unbelievable. I mean, I go in all the time. He's doing this project, then he's doing this project, and they all sound phenomenal. And anybody who has ever worked with Pat knows he's literally has one of the best ears and is one of the best engineers in the country, not just in Texas, but in the whole
Wow.
country. He's a
All
great
right,
engineer.
Damn, he's
Alright.
blushing. man.
People come in from LA. We had a guy in from LA last week that was in for 3 or 4 days, and makes a lot of records in LA. We have people come in from Nashville all the time, and New York and stuff. They say Pat's the fastest engineer they've ever worked with.
Wow.
And this is big time producer after big time producer, and they come in and say, I've never worked with anybody as fast as Pat. And he's mixing the whole time he's recording, he's like doing mixes, and he's fast, he's efficient, and everything sounds phenomenal.
That's quite an accolade there.
Yeah.
You can take something Pat recorded in his first year and listen to it today, and it sounds just as good as anything he does today.
That's amazing.
You got me going, man.
Well,
Yeah.
and you didn't even have to throw your bra at him either, right?
Well, we're honored that both of you guys would spend this time with us today.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thanks
We
for having
appreciate it.
us.
We're all in Dripping Springs together.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. So, well, thanks for joining us, you guys.
Thank you
Keep
for
rocking
having us.
on, for sure.
You guys too.
And we are recording right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here we go. Okay, and I'm getting ready. And we're back.
And we're back.
Well, that was really fun. Mike Morgan and Pat Manske from the Zone Recording Studio, the oldest business in Dripping Springs, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, depending on if you want to come forward and admit that you're older than they are.
Yeah. They're very interesting guys. Some great stories. I enjoyed that time with them, and wish them congratulations on their 30-year anniversary. I guess the city has named May 17th the Zone Recording Studio
That's
Day.
right, and they're almost as old as I am.
Yes. Well, you missed last week, and Carlisle did a wonderful job.
I did. I'm very proud of Carlisle.
Yeah,
Very,
well,
very proud
by
of
the way,
Carlisle.
got some news. Carlisle's filling your seat from now on.
That's it. Great. See ya.
I'm out.
Woo! I've been waiting. I've been waiting for somebody. I've been waiting for
I'm
somebody.
out of here.
It was my first time ever missing, and it was literally a
Out of
decision.
227 episodes, it was the first one you missed.
Well, Monday evening, I got a panicked call from my daughter-in-law who said my son was septic and
Scary stuff.
in the hospital, and I tried to get on a flight that night, and literally the flight left in an hour, so I couldn't make it there in time. So left first thing in the morning and flew to Oregon, and I've learned something about Oregon. It is very beautiful. I love Oregon. I've been several times to go see him. Tate's in med school there, and so he was
Yeah.
actually a patient at the same school or at the same hospital that he is going to school
Yeah.
at. And I did not know this term, and both of them, my daughter-in-law's in healthcare, and obviously my son's in healthcare, and they both said that Oregon is very healthcare illiterate, and that is
Ooh,
why
interesting.
the wait times for ER and to see medical professionals is some of the longest in the entire United States. So wait times on average, you ready for this? They can be upwards of 26 hours in the ER.
Get out of here.
That you are waiting. 2.6 to 26 hours, just like average, but for them, the high demands are causing, and we've experienced this firsthand, a shortage of beds. Tate was in a bed for almost 36 hours in the hallway. They called it an alcove. In the hallway. It was the craziest thing. So I also have a really funny story. So when he finally got moved to his regular room, you know, his med school buddies were coming by and checking because they were either getting off their rounds or whatever. And two of them came in and they said, "So we learned the hard way you're not in the alcove anymore." And we're like, "How is that?" And they said, "We pulled the curtain back and there was old man Balls staring back at us."
Oh my god!
It was the funniest thing. The look on one guy's face was like, I'm a little traumatized. So we're like, "Tate, you've changed."
Oh.
But yeah, it was crazy. High cases of acuity cases, and a lot of level 1 trauma. So he was supposed to have surgery first thing Tuesday morning, but it's a level 1 trauma hospital in Portland, Oregon, and there's so few of them, Washington State and whatever, and so he kept getting bumped over and over by these people that were coming in, and his sepsis and arm and everything kept getting worse.
You sent
and
me
worse
a picture of
and
his
worse.
arm, and I was like, "Oh, damn, that looks really painful."
I promised that I was going to behave myself, and they said no. We promised. They said the surgery was going to be Tuesday at midnight, and then they came in and they said, "Look, we're waiting for the specialist. We're going to go ahead and just bump you to Wednesday, and you'll be the second on the case at 10:30. Your surgery will be at 10:30." 1:30 finally I was about to just lose my ever-loving mind. But
doesn't take much, and I know something like that would push you over the edge.
Well, so medicine in Oregon is in a constant state of shortage, whether it's healthcare professionals, hospital facilities, and health illiterate means that it's the inability of individuals to find, understand, and use health info services and technology to make informed decisions about their health. I did not even know this term existed. In Oregon, according to OHSU, is where he was, 30% of adults in the U.S. have below basic health literacy.
You know, this whole problem is going to be fixed pretty soon.
I'm sure it is.
You know, so many people are leaving California, Oregon, and Washington that
it's all going to come here.
Well, there's that, but also I think that
it's be our problem now.
Yeah, there'll be so few people left in those states after they chase everybody away. I mean, you know, they're super high tax states, and they still can't do the most basic stuff.
Well, it is kind of nuts. You think that small problems, the longer you wait, then become bigger problems.
Sure, yeah.
And so I was looking at the Oregon versus Texas kind of comparison, and Oregon has one of the highest malpractice claim states in the union. Also, Texas has one of the lowest, but
we also have some laws.
We also have tort reform.
Harder,
we have tort reform, and doctors actually pay a lot less for malpractice insurance here in Texas than they do in Oregon.
Which reduces healthcare costs.
Which is reduces, and Texas also has a lot of teaching hospitals here in all various forms. So we have MD programs, which is what my son is in, but they have DO programs. They have holistic programs, that, and the other. It's insanity.
Well, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people in all those states right now that are looking at Texas and Florida and saying, you know what, we don't have to stay here. Let's go. And they're leaving, and they're moving to places like Texas, which it is a lot better to live here than it is to live in
I agree.
It's a pretty state, but it's just run very.
It's it's very beautiful. I loved walking around, but then when you look at the Oregon to Texas, my uncle passed away down in the valley in a surgery.
Yeah.
So he just passed away last week.
Yeah, but I mean, that happens. It has not necessarily to do with any kind of medical healthcare system when that happens, but it's I don't know. I think it's interesting. I hope those people that are leaving those states don't come here and ruin Texas. We need to do everything we can to prevent that.
I agree too. I agree, but I also have to say, and I think I texted you, Portland, Oregon, on the corner of 31st and Hawthorne Street, has the most supreme level, like expert level people watching. There is no other people watching that is just was like chef's kiss.
I feel like it's weird in an untasteful way, where some of the weird stuff in Austin is like, it's kind of quirky and weird and kind of cute, but there's some weird stuff there.
I had a woman, I was sitting with my back to her. She walked up. Yeah, I was sitting with my back to her, and she came up behind me, grabbed my head, and started running her fingers down my hair, no lie, and going, oh my gosh, your hair is so beautiful, and then looks over at Todd and said, and you're very handsome. But then the funny part is that her daughter came back with like 2 boxes of donuts and goes, Mom,
leave her alone.
It was pretty funny.
Geez. Well, we're glad you're back, Michelle.
Thank you.
Carlisle did a great job.
She did.
It's nice having you fill in that seat again. I have found out in the last couple weeks that saying you run like a girl is no longer an insult. Yeah. There's a race that a couple of my friends did. I actually haven't heard from them yet on how they did, because I'm sure they're wasted. There's this running race in Arizona. It starts in outside Phoenix and ends up in Flagstaff. It's called the Cocodona 250.
The Cocodona?
Cocodona 250 was won, this would be last week, by Rachel Entrekin overall. Not first place woman. First place overall.
Oh, you let a girl beat
you.
you.
I'm
job.
actually
Where was this? Where?
This is in Arizona.
Okay, but so do they let men compete as women?
And that was the other thing. This is a real woman.
Okay.
This is not a man pretending to be a woman.
Okay.
This is a real woman.
We're canceled.
She's from California, and she's a physical therapist. And she's got kind of an interesting story. She beat the first place male, who's a professional runner. His name's Killian Korth, and he's won tons of races in the country. She beat him overall. She set the course record by 2 hours. It's a 250-mile race now. Yeah, 2 hours. So it took her 56 hours, 9 minutes, and 48 seconds.
Is that not like is that not curious?
No, races like this, they have multiple checkpoints.
Okay.
It would be really hard to cheat.
But to beat the course record by 2 hours.
So this woman, I followed her on Instagram. It's pretty interesting. They showed her the reason this race is so popular is you go through these deserts and mountains and canyons, but you also run through like Prescott and Cottonwood and Sedona. You run through some towns too. And they showed her running through, I think it was Sedona, and there were people there cheering, and there was a guy standing there with his dog, and she stopped for a minute and said, "Can I pet your dog?" And she petted his dog, and then she just took off running again. And I thought, it's cool because she's enjoying running.
Maybe she's one of those aliens they're talking about.
Could be. But I enjoyed watching her because I feel like a lot of ultra running has become dominated by these people that are they're suffering and they're bleeding and they're blisters, and they focus on all that. This was just this woman out there enjoying running for 250 miles. Pretty cool. The course, 39,000 feet of elevation gain, which you and I have talked about the rim to rim to rim that I've done, is 11,000 feet.
Hey,
so it's almost 4 times what we did in the
I got
Grand
stuck
Canyon.
in the Denver airport for 4 hours, so I felt a little.
You've done your own.
I did. I did. I felt a little altitude sickness in there, so you never know.
Well, it's the same. It's kind of the same.
It was the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly the same. Well, on a somber note, there was a woman, we don't know her name yet, the race organizers haven't released her name out of respect for the family, but she died on the course from a medical emergency. Yeah, it's, and instantly people are saying, oh, cancel the race, respect. And, there's thousands of people, not thousands of runners, there's thousands of people go there to support because you have a crew most of the time, that you can do it unsupported. So, you have 6 people with you and you run the thing, and these people haven't just trained for weeks for this. You train in some cases for years to be able to do a 250-mile race. And I think it's disrespectful to the person who passed away to just cancel it because because the spirit of
I
it
agree.
is she was out there to test her body.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, I have to tell you that if anything has given me motivation to run or to work out is my 27-year-old son telling me I was feeble because his dog. I went to walk the dog, and he went and chased a rabbit, and I slid into the mulch and face planted.
Good thing there was mulch there, not concrete.
And then when I came back, he goes, "Mom, you got to be careful because you're feeble." I'm 55 years old, and I put my arm. I was like, "Can you do this?" But I was like, you know what?
Did you punch him when he said that?
Well, he was kind of, he was.
Oh, he's in.
He
okay.
just recovered.
Well,
from
actually,
surgery.
you could have punched him and gotten away with it.
That is motivation for me to start working out. Is for my kid to call me feeble.
Yeah, getting up off the floor apparently is a thing. Somebody that was older was telling me over the weekend that they lay down on the floor to stretch their back or something, and they couldn't get up. they were like, I go, how'd you get up? Well, I had to like pull up on the bed and then use the sheets, and I'm like, oh, maybe you should start laying down on the floor and practicing that.
Well, Todd was telling me. I said, what did it look like? And he goes, I didn't know where to go. Like the dog took off. You're laying on the ground. And he goes, I was like, no, please chase the dog. And I said, because Tate would have killed me if I let his dog go. And he goes,
Ooh, that
I
would
said,
have been a tough decision.
what happened when you came back? He goes, you're still laying on the ground. Because honest to God, I'm laying on the ground and I'm going, oh my God, I hope nobody saw that.
You're supposed to jump up and do the ta-da!
Like, please, nobody saw it. Please, nobody
It's,
saw it.
yeah, coming soon to Instagram near you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure somebody's Ring camera has caught it. And
Yeah,
it's been playing
I'm
over
sure
and
it
over
has.
again. So, like all the hoopla right now, people are talking about the hantavirus and how we should all be scared. And I'm just going to tell you right now, for the record, I will not comply. I will not wear a mask. I will not stay in my house.
Not shutting down.
I am not shutting down.
The office.
Nope. But there is something that is very concerning to me that really bothers me, and it's called the blue dot fever. And I don't know if you've heard of the blue dot fever.
I have not heard of the blue dot fever. Please tell me.
The blue dot fever is the phrase. It's in reference to a sea of blue dots representing unsold tickets on Ticketmaster. And it's leading up to a wave of concert cancellations, and it's hitting major artists. So, like when you go buy a concert or something.
Wait. Is this because of the hantavirus?
No, it's totally separate. Yeah, it's like sometimes talking to you is like talking to Todd. I feel like I have to.
I
okay.
do have that engineer type mind.
I'm going to name some names, and you've probably never heard of them. Post Malone.
I do Post Malone. Can't say it, but I know it.
Meghan Trainor.
Yes,
the Pussycat Dolls. They
Nope.
canceled their U.S. tour. Dolly Parton has claimed health issues. So she claimed a Vegas residency.
Oh.
What they're really saying is that it's high ticket prices, venue overselling, and an overcrowded summer concert market. And so also, people are saying, look, there's high gas prices. I'm broke. I am not paying $500-$600 for a ticket.
So I want to make sure I understand. You're saying that they put, like Dolly Parton puts up her concert and not enough tickets sell. And so instead of saying, hey, we couldn't sell enough tickets, guess what? I'm sick.
Yeah, they say so. Ticket News said, this was Ticket News, which is a ticket news outlet that follows ticket tracking and stuff, said that the pattern was becoming very familiar. Sales sputter, seating charts turn into blue oceans or blue dots, and then the artist has a quote personal reason for pulling out before anybody has to say the quiet part out loud. Nobody bought tickets. And so they're pulling out for whatever reason. Actually, there's a big concert festival, the Troubadour Festival, which is up in Salina, up near Dallas. They canceled theirs. They said the current economic climate, ever rising cost, the incredible difficult artist booking landscape has led to this decision. So yeah, I think it's hitting.
Do you think any sort of mid to high level artist could go, what's the Moody Center and say tickets are $35 and that it would sell out? Maybe they wouldn't make any money.
I don't know. I know personally right now that in a contract negotiation, a very familiar Texas country artist band, their fee, and they're not even like top 40 or anything, their fee is $40,000 to play for one night.
Well, that makes sense to me, though. If
but think about it, $40,000, right?
Jeez, that's funny. I was looking at you like her phone's ringing, and it was me.
It was your.
So yeah, well, I mean, I get that. So they got to cover that. I feel like it's gotten out of control. You've told me some of the costs you've spent on tickets. And I honestly, I'd never, ever, ever spend that much money to go see an artist. Not ever.
I like the whole experience. Like, to me, look, Todd and I spent $400 going to Disneyland, Ghettoland.
Yeah,
okay, the two of us.
Yeah, I'd probably have a hard time.
And that was one day,
yeah.
right? That was one day, so it was a whole experience, and we got to experience. I'm all about experiences, and
yeah, me too. But my experiences are a different thing. Like once you buy all the gear, backpacking and stuff is roughly free. But I mean, it is. It's roughly free. You buy some food and you pay. It's like $6 a day for.
How much are Pop-Tarts?
They can get expensive when you buy as many as we do. But I get it. I understand the experience thing, but I think it's gotten so crazy. Like
it has.
I was talking to somebody that went to see the Dallas Cowboys with his two boys, and it was like $1,500. I'm like, I can do a lot of things with $1,500. Going sitting for 3 hours to watch a football team is not going to be one of them.
Oh, wait till you go to the merch table. Like, I like to support, but if they're even George Strait, when I went to George Strait, I was like, I'm not gonna buy merch just to buy merch. I want something that's cool that I'll actually wear. But if there's $65 for a T-shirt and then $125 for a sweatshirt,
it's ridiculous.
I don't think so.
I wonder if maybe there'll be a correction. Maybe this is the time things get corrected and you can start buying tickets for $50 and $75, and artists will sell out arenas.
Maybe people are really hungry for live music. I think you and I were talking about it earlier. People are looking for alternative ways to stay off of their phone and become engaged with person to person.
Yeah.
And so I think live music kind of does that for people and engages, unless you're sitting there recording the whole dang thing, which I've seen people do the whole entire concert.
Yeah.
Like, are you really going back and watching the whole?
You see somebody that posts pictures or video from a
fireworks?
Concert. Well, no, yeah, it's a concert, and you go like, I can't see anything. I can't hear it. It's just a bunch of bright lights, and there's somebody up there wearing blue and black. I don't know what's going on. So don't waste your time posting those videos. Nobody can tell what's going on. It's not, if you're there, you feel it. You know the energy. Yeah. Nobody else watching that on Instagram has any idea what that's.
It's cool though. It is cool. But yeah. So don't get the blue dot fever.
Don't get the blue dot fever.
Yeah.
Well, we lost an American legend this week, or actually last week, I think. And whether you disagreed with him or agreed with him, Ted Turner died last week at age 87. And he's been controversial. He's been pretty outspoken about some things.
He was married to Jane Fonda at one time.
He was married to Jane Fonda for a while. But a lot of people don't know, but besides being a television pioneer, he started CNN and Turner Broadcast. Turner Broadcast
Network.
System.
Yeah.
He also owned the Atlanta Braves. He won the America's Cup in 1977. He was a very accomplished sailor. He was one of the largest landowners in America. He owned over 2 million acres of ranch land.
Where?
It was Nebraska.
It
was all over. Yeah, he had multiple ranches. I think he bought his first large ranch. It was 1 million acres.
Where did he first get his money from? Do you know? Like, how did he did he?
You know what? I actually didn't come across. But he's not from a wealthy family, and his dad killed himself when he was younger. So it's not like he came from a gilded past. He also owned one of the largest bison herds in the entire world.
Same. I do too. That is so weird.
Sure
he took over his father's billboard business, Turner Outdoor Advertising.
So in 1963, it was valued at $1 million. So in 2023, he took a company that was worth $1 million. In 2023, he was worth $2.5 billion.
Wow. At 24 years of age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Look, it's based in Macon, Georgia. That's why CNN is in Atlanta, right?
And CNN is, a lot of people don't know. CNN, when it first came out, was a lot different than it is now.
Oh my gosh, my stepfather loved that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was pretty cool back then. It was good journalism. They just did the news. Now it's all opinion and
remember when they used to call it the Clinton News Network?
Yeah, I know. Well, that was about when it started to turn. But he was known for making high-risk bets, and he wasn't afraid to lose. He was okay with trying something and having it not work, which I think is an American ideal that we should not lose. There's too many people in this country that are like, well, I'm not doing it unless it's a sure thing.
Well, obviously, when his marriage broke up to Jane Fonda, he had to give her $100 million settlement.
Well, and at the time it probably hurt, but
no, I don't know. I'd pay her $100 million to go away.
Yeah. But I mean, I got a long list of things here that he did, and you know, he was he was an atheist, and he was very opinionated about calling Christians losers and some things.
Really?
But, yeah, he was also very philanthropic. He gave over $1 billion to the United Nations Foundation in 1997.
He was friends with Donald Trump.
Yeah, and Donald Trump came out and said that we lost a great American. So, I think if you want to know if you can make it in this country, you can make it. I mean, he did have a head start. He inherited this company from his dad, but I mean, it's not like his dad was worth $500 million and he inherited it. He still had to go out and take big risks. He owned MGM for a while. He borrowed like $800 million or something to buy MGM. I mean, he was a risk taker, and I mean, I think that's what being an American's all about. And how many times have people in this country risked everything and lost it and then built it again?
Well, you don't know what you have if you don't know what you have. If you got nothing, I got nothing.
I got nothing. But I mean, I think he's going to go down, with the Vanderbilts and the DuPonts and the big names of people that made a big difference in this country.
Well, if you're old and rich and you have no relatives and you need somebody to leave your money to, Steve and I are available.
Yes,
please call Steve's cell phone.
We'll take $1 billion to sponsor the podcast.
Yeah,
please.
just a little bit.
And then when you're done with that, would you follow us on YouTube and Instagram, please?
Please, absolutely.
Thank you for joining us, everybody.
You.
It's been a fun week, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you, everybody.